Okay, joining me now is the Untouchable Kash Farooq. We recently announced that he's going to be fighting on the 10th of April on the Vargas Ben undercard with Matchroom. Kash, how you doing?
I'm good, Jamie. I'm good. How you doing? You alright?
I'm alright, man. I'm a bit cold, but I know you've put the heating on, so if there is noise in the background, that's the heating because you're freezing.
Yeah, that's true.
It's cold outside. So recently announced your second fight with Matchroom.
Yeah.
You looking forward to it?
Yeah, to be honest, it's good I've got a date penciled in. I can always say, work towards that. Because sometimes if you don't got a date, you're always not have the motivation. You're just going to the gym, messing about. But obviously, I've got something to work towards, and hopefully the next few weeks I can get opponent secured as well when I can know what I need to do in the gym.
So if we go back a year, you were in the same position. You just signed with Matchroom. You had a fight scheduled for April, and you're looking forward to. Obviously, the whole year just went upside down, but you eventually managed to get your fight. Are you hoping that this year is a lot more positive for you? You hoping to maybe get back-to-back fights, maybe April, then maybe again in the summer, then again, or are you just looking at just one hurdle at a time?
Obviously, the way things are at the moment, it's unpredictable. Even April, things might not even go to plan. But fingers crossed, things will look up as months go on. And I'm hoping I get this fight out the way first, then. And hopefully I can have a busy year, try getting about at least another 2-3 fights in by end of this year, and keep myself busy. Because I think I need to make lost time off from last year. I only had one fight, which ideally would have had maybe 2 or 3 last year, but I was just lucky to even get one in.
I think to go for it and I know we spoke about this before, when you won the British title and it was like back-to-back fights.
Yeah.
It was like every few months. It was literally within the space of 2-3 weeks. We had another date in mind, and then you were working. You were constantly in the gym. Yeah. I know because of how you're always in the gym. You're always eating right. You're always ready to fight. But do you miss it? Do you miss having that like constant engagement, even with the crowd, like the buzz that's coming up, or the headaches we're getting making weight? Do you miss that, being in that environment?
Yeah, you do. Because now what you're waiting about a few extra more months. To box. Obviously, if I didn't have a promotional contract, I'd been waiting longer. But it's, you miss everything, even the crowd, and you doing press conferences before. Obviously, if I was with Matchroom, I would have done probably that public workout. If I was that was my fight I had in November, I would probably have done a public workout. And I would have done a press conferences for crowds. And I would have done a weigh-in in front of the crowd as well. And obviously I would have won in front of the crowd. You miss all that, but it's just the way things are at the moment, and you just gotta go with it. And hopefully, like I said, hopefully things are a wee bit more different by April, but I can't really see it happening.
So I know you spoke to. I've seen some of the interviews that people, and I know like you're not the type of person to call.
Yeah.
Fighters that there are some fighters that have named you. Yeah. Even like. I don't want to go through the list, but what is your sort of thoughts about who your opponent could be in April?
To be honest, I'm not too sure. Whoever that is, I'm gonna box. It's not really my thing. My concern is about getting myself ready on the night, and that's it. I'll let my manager worry about that, and whoever's going from me, I'm gonna accept and fight and get myself ready, and that's it. To be honest, and that's my job.
So how does it feel when there's people always want like an exclusive, and they want to say, "Oh, Kash Farooq has agreed. He said he's been ready for this fight." I'll just drop my bottle of water. People say, "Oh, he's ready for this fight. He's willing to fight this guy." Obviously, there's no secret that Lee's name will come up, and I listened to some of the interview earlier with AFL, and it was like, you must be sick of hearing about this, but further down the line, this is a fight that's likely to go ahead. But in between there and now, is it frustrating when people sort of suggest these names, or because I know the type of person you just want to fight and you will just fight anybody, but is it frustrating that they constantly try and like get you to agree? Or what's it this guy? What do you think about this guy?
Yeah, it is a wee bit, to be honest, because this talk's been going over a year and a bit now. Means a rematch, and what do you think about Lee? And obviously I'm just always thinking about my next fight instead of him. And because if you get be your next fight, you might know boxing, you know what I mean? And so always like I'm just worried about my next fight, and that's it. Once the fight is made and signed and sealed, then I'll start worrying about him. But the thing, the moment it's just talks are just talks.
So I know you'll be watching Lee's fight. That's going to come before yours. I think that's going to be February the 6th in Dubai. I think Lee's will be well into his training camp.
Yeah.
But the effects of Corona are something that's affected both of you. Like this is the third scheduled fight for him to fight for the European title. Last year, as I said, you were due to fight in April, and then I think sometime in summer, and then again in October, November, and then it get put back. What was that like to have to keep going through that? You're setting yourself up ready for a fight, and then the sort of rug gets pulled away for you at the last minute.
I think the first time when the coronavirus came, obviously we seen it coming. I wasn't just surprised, obviously, the fight got called off. That's just, you know, I mean, it's normal, you know, I mean, things are just, everybody's fight got called off. But see, when my fight got October, I was meant to box in Lewis Richardson's undercard in October. It was in, I think it was Peterborough. And they couldn't give me an opponent a week before the fight. And I was really gutted because I thought I might not end up boxing, you know what I mean? But thankfully, Eddie got me out again and did Zora's undercard. And I weighed in, I passed my COVID test. I was above a couple of days. I was like, I nothing go wrong now. You know, and it was just basically it must have been 10, 11 hours before the fight night. It was on the night, basically, a night before. And I was about to go to bed, and I got a phone call with saying your fight's been called off. And I was like, I was really gutted, to be honest. It was a long night. I'm not gonna lie to you. It was a long night. And so we basically went up the road the next day, and I was like, this is probably this year's I'm probably not gonna boxing. Obviously, what's happened, then I went, but thankfully Eddie got me out again within 2 weeks' time, and a really good card as well. K Taylor's and undercard, and it was, you know, it worked in my favor because it was free to stream on YouTube, Facebook, and you know, I got a big audience as well. And I boxed for a title, and obviously this opponent was a better opponent than the last one, and you know, and I put on a good performance, and I was really happy how the outcome was. But obviously it was worth the wait. But before that, I was, you know, I mean, I was sickened, but it was worth the wait once I got the win.
So I know that journey, like I know the ins and outs when you found out, and like you were just about to go to bed, and you just about to put your phone down, and then you seen that, and you're isolated in a sense. I know Craig was with you, and you would have been in touch with Ian and Colin and that, and your brother as well. I'm sure was like you'd phoned him. But do you feel quite isolated when you go into that bubble? Although you see other boxers and there's a lot of like hype coming up to does it feel like is it obviously it's a different environment from being back home and fighting maybe locally, but did you feel like you were sort of on your own and question, why is this happening to me?
Yeah, I did always see that. I think the most nerve-wracking part is probably once you go on the bubble on Tuesday, with COVID test, you know what I mean? Once that's out the way, you feel good, you know what I mean? And
so I remember you'd sort of felt relieved. You messaged going, right, that's it. And then the way in.
That's
and you think everything's going to go, everybody's buzzing. And then this came out of nowhere. It was like late, I think it was like 11 o'clock at night. It just came out of nowhere.
I was, to be honest. And, you know what I mean? Obviously, we didn't see it coming. Obviously, if we knew what we know now, you know what I mean, we wouldn't have done it, what happened, you know what I mean? But you learn through experience, you know what I mean? And but yeah, it's just, you feel alright, you know what I mean, once you're in the bubble, because obviously once after Tuesday, once you get tested negative, training can come in your room, you can go in the room, so you feel alright, you know what I mean? So you know, you don't really feel like that now, but obviously once I did get tested positive in the first, second social when I was meant to box, and I was like, why me or everybody, you know what I mean? But it is what it is, you know.
So as you said, you went ahead with the fight. Your opponent's changed in the space of a few weeks as well. So it's like but as we've said, like you would go in and fight anybody. But you go in, you show your stuff, and then you've gained a lot of more fans. Like maybe people who didn't know you for before they hadn't seen any of the fights. Like you've gained fans that maybe you wouldn't have had before. So you said that it did work in your favour. How does that feel that you're growing your support base?
No, it does, you know, and obviously I've just boxed. Before that, I was boxing on BBC, and I boxed on IFL TV. And I boxed on Box Nation once as well. So this is Sky Sports. I think it was a different type of audience, if you know what I mean. Different type of people maybe tune into, and I got good response of people on Twitter and Facebook and whatever social media was box, even Instagram, and it was good. It's built my platform, and obviously there's no better way to do it. Obviously on Sky Sports, and obviously it was free to stream. It's free to stream on YouTube as well and Facebook. So it was, you know what I mean, and the card was great. Obviously Kate Hill was boxing on it. She's a really big name as well, obviously, especially in Ireland. And yeah.
So, if you go all the way back to when you first started boxing, did you ever think, "Oh, this is going to be me. I'm going to be fighting for titles"? People constantly bringing my name up, and I'm going to be newspapers fighting on Sky Sports on a matchroom undercard. Eddie Hearn's my promoter. Did you ever think in your wildest dreams, even at this stage, that it would ever be possible?
You do think about it, but you never thought it's gonna ever come true. You know, you do wish it's gonna. You know, when I was obviously boxing, I was like, I want to do all this. Obviously, what's obviously turned out, it's happening. But you never visualize it. You never think it's gonna ever come true. You know what I mean? And but yeah, my trainers always say it's gonna happen to you. But I was like, they're probably just saying it just to make me feel good. But for me, I was like, I don't know whether I'm gonna ever feel this. You know what I mean? The way things are, and obviously, you know, but thankfully it's worked out well. You know what I mean? Boxing for me, and you know, I'm one of the lucky ones. Yeah.
So, other than the obviously matchrooms, your promoter, but you've got St Andrews is still part of your management. You work with Ian. You've got Craig and Colin training you. We've announced a few signings with St Andrews. So St Andrews and Jack Turner is switched there. You've got Cassidy Todd, and then recently young Jake Lemond. Now I've been speaking to Jake. I know he's 17. What advice would you give to a young boxer at that age that's just signed with St Andrews? Do you remember what it was like with your first time you signed with them?
Yeah, I still do, to be honest. I just signed over. I just signed for the sake of it. I just wanted to see how professional game was. Like, it wasn't something I was dreaming big or anything. That's the reason I signed over. See how it's like if I go and see how far I can go. That was it. Now I had big ambitions to do this, do that. So yeah, that was about it. But I think my advice probably at the beginning. I think just stay in the gym, stay ready, and just learn your craft. I mean, you probably go through a lot of ups and downs, but you can't really get away from the game. You know, I mean, just stay in the gym at the beginning of your career and pick much knowledge as you can. With sparring wise, doing anything.
So there is a lot of great Scottish boxers that are part of St Andrews. I know you've sparred and fought with some of them. Like you get Nathaniel Collins. I think you fight in amateurs.
I boxed him amateur about 3 times. I think. Yeah.
And you get Scott Allen.
Yeah, I boxed him. Yeah.
Gary Ray is part of the.
Yeah, I boxed Gary.
And he's also trains at Renfrewshire boxing as well. I'm sure. Martin Harkin as well is another name. So it's quite a nice wee stable that they're building. Do you know any secret plans that Ian's got to take the Scottish boxing world by storm, or has he got other signings coming down the line, or do you just speak to him about what you've got planned?
Yeah, of course. You know, I'm quite close with Ian, so yeah, we speak about everything also, and but yeah, Ian's got obviously big plans for what's coming up. You know, I mean, hopefully things ease up a wee bit, we can get moving. You know what I mean, and you know, you can get fires out again. You know, but hopefully, like I said, fingers crossed, things that will be more different in a few months' time. But
as you say, I think it's an exciting time if everything falls into place.
Yeah,
it's an exciting time for boxing and Scottish boxing. I'll be speaking to Sam probably shortly as well. Sam Kynock, he's now linked up with Fight Africa, and that's maybe another route for some Scottish boxers to be doing. But if everything falls into place and sort of the boxing community sort of pulls together, what's your thoughts on the sad thing for me is like amateur Olympic style boxers kind of been left behind. The sense is that there's young guys that aren't getting the opportunities to even train, never mind to fight. If you were an amateur boxer now, would you think? Because when I spoke to Jake, he said he switched to pro because he wasn't going to amateur, wasn't going to get anywhere. And what would you be thinking if you were in that situation now?
To be honest, if I was an amateur, I'd be going through a hard time. I'm not going to lie to you. I'd be going through a hard time right now. Because when I started amateur boxing, I put my eggs in all basket. You know? I mean, basically, I wanted to go. I was like, God, this is what I want to do. I want to be a fighter. I want to try to live in a career, make a living out of this. And obviously, the big kids that can't even get to fight, you know, I mean, it must be disheartening for them. Some of them can't even spar. I think it's been a while. Some of the kids have been sparring for months and months, and you know, and some of the always they've not been in the gym. You know, I know it's just, you know, I mean, this is probably one of the things that no one's seen it coming, and they might never get to see this ever thing ever in their life again.
What advice would you give to young boxers? I know that maybe they did have a prospect of becoming an amateur fighter, and they're sort of feeling a bit disheartened and feeling, oh, I don't think boxing's going to get back. What advice would you give them?
I think you still need to stick at it. You can't, you know what I mean, you can't let the storm ride away. So just keep sticking at it. But I've never been in the situation myself, so, you know what I mean, don't get me wrong, if I was in the situation at the moment where they are, I would be disheartened. But I've not been in the situation. But only advice I would give is keep sticking at it. You know, don't get disheartened, you know what I mean, and just things will get better, you know what I mean, eventually.
So between now and April, it is a long way away, and you know better than anybody, like, things can change. But between now and April, what's the plan? Do you go into like a bubble of training? How does it work? Do you get access to the gym and stuff? Yeah,
at the moment, obviously, I'm a professional athlete. I've been training with Craig since bloody New Year and Christmas, and we've been training right through, and obviously we've been training hard, but in a few weeks we'll pick it up, sparring wise, everything, sprints, everything. We'll start picking things up, and obviously once we get a point, we'll start planning what to do and everything. I mean, weeks by weeks, things will obviously fall in place, and just at the moment we're just taking over, because we don't overdo it. You end up burning yourself out 2 or 3 weeks before the fight. You end up knackered. So I'm just taking it. Just build it up now.
So every boxer that is coming on, I'm speaking to them about sponsorship and stuff. You've had amazing sponsors that have supported you for years. Who are these sponsors? I
just want to thank, obviously, Porter Security. You know, I mean, they've helped me so much. You know, and they've even helped me through a pandemic. They still help me to this day. And I can't thank them enough. You know, I mean, without them, I wouldn't be where I'm at. So I gotta thank them. Obviously, Arnold Clark as well. They've obviously got me her car, everything. It makes my life a lot easier driving about, you know, and I can't thank them as well. Obviously, I've got Sweet Side. They usually help me with my tracksuits, and when I'm going to big fights and big leagues after my fight, they give me a hand as well. And obviously, at the moment, Pro Life is, you know, I mean, they're not open at the moment, but they've helped me right through. Okay, I know if obviously gyms were open, I know Alec Whelan will be the first one to give me a hand, but he still gives me advice on my weight cut and how to make the weight and any advice I need and thing. But you know what I mean, so I've had great sponsors who have helped me a lot, you know, and without them I wouldn't be where I'm at.
I suppose it means more during a time like this, because sponsors, they want to see their logos on shows, and when there isn't that many shows, it means even more that these people are still supporting you. But even with your coaches and Ian, and the belief that I think people have had in you and wanting you that you're going to go into bigger things, and like I was listening earlier at the IFL when guy, and he's like, Andrew had said, he always mentions your name as being one of these guys that's going to go into win a world title, and I think that support obviously means something to a boxer who, as you said, it's your career. And with the ups and downs, it's good to have these people supporting you. But listen, thanks for coming and speaking to me again. And hopefully, I mean, God knows what it's going to be like in April.
I suppose.
I'm still going to email Match and be like, oh, can I come and be like in the back? Because I know they're very, very strict. And I don't know if JT, maybe we'll try and build the channel up until April and try and get on the show. But listen, Kash, cheers, and I'll see you again very soon.
Thanks, Jimmy. Take care.